Gotta go, gotta see things, see new places and brand new things. Gotta go places and do things, maybe to forget.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to another one. If you're new to the channel, I am Gold Pony. I do new car, truck, SUV reviews on YouTube, and today we're in the brand new 2026 Honda Odyssey, courtesy of Sioka Honda in Hanover, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. So we are in this one today because the Odyssey is known for stellar reliability. You always see these things on Auto Trader with like 200,000 miles on it, so definitely a big fan of that. Fastest gasoline power minivan as well, for what that's worth, and plenty of space, of course. And so ultimately in this video we will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so as you can imagine, there are several different trim levels for the 2026 Odyssey. First one being the EXL, going for $42,795, which is an $875 bump from the 2025 model year. You got the Sport L for $43,895, Touring, which is the one we were in today, going for $47,495, and lastly the Elite, going for $51,695. But regardless of the trim level that you go with, the power plant on the Odyssey is going to be the same. Powering this minivan is a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6 that puts out 280 horsepower at 6,000 RPM, 262 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 4,700 RPM. Power is going to be sent to the front wheels through a 10-speed automatic with paddle shifters, which of course you guys know we will be testing out here in a little bit. But 0 to 60 times 6.4 seconds, making it the fastest minivan to 60 in its class. You gotta love that. Top speed, if you're interested, 111 miles per hour, with MPG numbers coming in at 19 in the city, 28 on the highway, taking regular, gotta love that, regular unleaded fuel. And so before we do any kind of fun acceleration test here in our Odyssey, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes are all located just kind of around the drive buttons, just underneath of the infotainment screen. Drive modes will include sport, snow, and econ, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, and the climate control settings as well. So now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a straightaway. Let's put the paddle shifters here to the test first, and let's see how quickly the paddle shifters are going to react for us here. All right, found our straightaway here, got it in first gear in 3, 2, 1, go. Wow. Dang. This thing really is quick. First, I want to say that, but paddle shifter surprised me. Like, they shouldn't be this good. We're in a minivan. Come on, Honda. But they're pretty darn good. Like, instantaneous reaction times. Like, I don't know why Honda did that, but they make this thing fun. Like, if you wanted to have some fun with the paddle shifters, you can 100% certainly do that, because they are lightning quick. The only thing I would change with the paddle shifters is they are just a black plastic. I would probably finish them in maybe a silver plastic to make them a little more high-end, or even magnesium would be perfectly right at home on this thing, considering how quickly they actually react. So Honda, you are impressing me. That was very nice. But let's get back full control to the Odyssey here. Let's go ahead and find one more straightaway, and let's see how quickly the Honda Odyssey here can get us up to speed. All right, found our straightaway in sport driving. Nope, now we're in sport driving mode. 3, 2, 1, go. Don't spin while you're spinning. This thing is just so stinking quick, man. Like, that's a really, really good acceleration for the Honda Odyssey. I am impressed. The best part is, it's gonna last forever too. Now, the only thing, there is one thing I would change about that acceleration is we did get a little bit of spinning sent to the front wheels there. All that power being just sent to the front wheels, so there was some spinning. Honda, if you're watching this, please watch this. Sorry, armrest. Add an all-wheel drive option, dang it. So the Toyota Sienna gives you an all-wheel drive option. I think the Chrysler minivan does too. Why would you not give an all-wheel drive option to this? This could be a legendary minivan. You got the reliability. It's more reliable than any other minivan out there. Even the Sienna. This is more reliable, I'm telling you. But I just want the all-wheel drive. I can even do without a hybrid configuration, although that would be nice. I can do without it, just add the all-wheel drive, because we do get snow here in Pennsylvania. And I know you got the snow driving mode, and I'm sure that would be perfectly fine, but there's so much power being sent to the front wheels. We need an all-wheel drive system to really put that power to the ground, although it did decent, but there was spinning. That's all I'm saying. But fun, super fun, nonetheless, in a minivan. Gotta love it. But to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. So up front, you will find 12.6-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 13-inch solid rear discs. As far as that 60-0 stopping distance goes, that comes in at a respectable 124 feet. There's nothing wrong with that number whatsoever. As far as braking feel goes, it's fine. It feels great. Honda is crushing it with the performance on this Odyssey. You don't need to give performance to a minivan, but they still do an absolutely wonderful job with this. It's not a soft braking feel. Now, it's not a super firm braking feel either, but it's not a soft braking feel, and that's what I expected in a vehicle like this. So Honda, keep crushing it. You're doing well. Then touching on suspension and handling, up front you're going to get a McPherson strut front suspension. In the back, compact multi-link rear suspension with trailing arms, front and rear stabilizer bars. As far as ride quality goes, it's actually been perfectly fine in my short little test drive here tonight. I know it just hit some massive bumps right there, of course, as I said that, but it really is a perfectly fine ride quality. It's nothing crazy, but it definitely gets the job done. I would not have any issues taking this thing on a long road trip, I'll just put it that way. As far as steering feel goes, now it is weighted a little bit more on the looser side of things, as expected in a minivan. Not quite as heavy as you typically expect from Honda. I would probably compare it to like the Passport. That is a little bit looser of a steering feel as well. It's something like that. So it's what it is. It's what I expect the Honda Odyssey to feel like. It's not bad, but it's nothing crazy. It's what you would expect. Just listen to that. But anyways, then touching on cabin noise, we're going 43 miles per hour right now. I'll shut up here for a second. It's actually really good. Like, I'm getting a lot of echo in here because of how serene a cabin it truly is here in the Odyssey. There's not any road noise whatsoever. There's like no wind noise whatsoever coming into the cabin either. So that's pretty darn impressive, and that's due in part because there is an acoustic laminated front windshield, there's acoustic laminated front door glass, and there's acoustic laminated rear door glass as well, which a lot of times, believe it or not, is an added option on luxury automakers like Mercedes-Benz. So the fact that you get it standard here in the Odyssey, that's pretty darn impressive. Honda, keep crushing it. Touching our rear visibility, I actually can see perfectly fine out the back. This is a gigantic rear window there, so you definitely should not have any issues looking out your rear view mirror there. The other thing is, with the Elite trim level only, you also get rain sensing windshield wipers. Touching on forward visibility a little bit, which is kind of weird. It just comes for the Elite, because a lot of times rain sensing windshield wipers come standard on all trim levels for a lot of the competition, I guess. But see, it's kind of surprising it's just for the top trim level, but it's there for you if you wanted it. Just get the Elite. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2026 Honda Odyssey. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2026 Honda Odyssey, finished in Radiant Red Metallic 2. In case you wanted that exact exterior color name that we had with us here on this one. But as always, let's go ahead and start with where the Odyssey is made. Taking a look at the VIN, first character is the number 5, indicating that the Odyssey is built and assembled here in the US, in case you were curious. But starting up front, you got active grille shutters, meaning they will open and close dependent upon the engine cooling that is needed at any given time. To the bottom corners there, LED fog lights, and yes, that does come standard for every single trim level across the board, so that is pretty sticking cool. Also to the sides, LED headlights coming standard with LED daytime running lights. Get the automatic feature with those. You also get automatic high beams, so if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim them back to low beams, and when that vehicle is gone, it's going to automatically bounce back up the high beams for you there. Honestly, in the end though, I love the look of the front end. Definitely looks good. I especially love that opening just underneath the Honda logo. I think that makes it look so much more aggressive. It didn't always have that, but that pretty much rounds out the front end of the Odyssey. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the side. All right, so now since we are around to the side of this one, rear privacy glass does come standard for all trim levels across the board. Going to find some chrome belt line molding also coming standard there. Taking a look at the side mirrors, they are body colored power adjustable side mirrors coming standard. You will get heated side mirrors with integrated turret signals as well. Also, reverse gear tilt down feature coming standard for all trim levels. I love that. If you go with the Sport, by the way, the side mirrors are going to be gloss black. I didn't want to forget to mention that. And then if you were to go with the Elite, they're going to be power folding and auto dimming side mirrors as well, which is pretty cool. Then take a look down at the wheel setup. They are going to differ pretty substantially dependent upon the trim level that you go with, of course. 18-inch machine finished alloys for the EXL, 19-inch gloss black alloys for the Sport L, 19-inch silver alloys for the Touring, that's what you guys are looking at, and then 19-inch machine finished alloys for that Elite trim level. But that pretty much rounds out the side profile. Let's now go ahead and swing around to the back. All right, so but now since we are around to the back of the Odyssey, all the way to the top, you will find a body-colored shark fin antenna. Just below that, rear spoiler with an integrated brake light. You got the rear window wiper affixed to the rear glass, of course. LED taillights do come standard for all trim levels across the board. Got some LED reflectors in the bottom corners there, taking directly off the Acura NSX. So yes, this is the Acura NSX of minivans, you could say, because it is pretty quick for a minivan, like I was saying at the beginning of the video. Just below it, although, you will find a single exhaust outlet. It is tucked away underneath on the passenger side there. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next here. As always, here is that exhaust clip. So but now since we are around to the back of the Odyssey, when it comes to opening that rear liftgate, it is a power liftgate that does come standard, and if you were to go with the Elite, it's going to be a hands-free power liftgate. So anyways, there is a button on the key fob, there's a rubberized button on the liftgate itself then as well, but once opened up, cargo capacity behind that third row is going to come in at 32.8 cubic feet. That is a ton. You can of course fold that third row down. It folds down pretty darn nicely. That is going to bump that up to 86.6 cubic feet behind the second row. And just for reference, that's typically what you find with all rows folded on 3-row SUVs like the Telluride, the Highlander, the Pilot, things like that. That's a really good number for behind just the second row. But anyways, with all rows folded, 140.7 cubic feet. So about the same amount of cubic feetness as like a Chevy Suburban. That is ridiculous. You gotta love minivans for that. But 12-volt power outlet back there. You got cargo lighting back there. There's grocery bag hooks. There's added storage found on the sides then as well. And just overall a ton of space. But then making our way up to the rear legroom. Third row legroom, get this, 38.1 inches. That's a second row legroom number typically when you look at other vehicles. Anyways, for reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the third row. Of course, the second row does slide forward as well, so you can have even more space if you really wanted to. Of course, you got cup holders found in that third row. There's rear ventilation for all passengers as well. Dual rear USB charging ports for the third row. That's pretty nice. And then third row window sunshades are going to come with the Touring and Elite trim levels if you wanted that. That's so high end. You never see that in third rows. That's pretty cool. Then make your way up to the second row legroom. That comes in at 40.9 inches. For reference, I'm still an even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had in the second row there. And by the way, this is going to be 8 passenger seating. So what that means is you get 3 seats in the second row. You also get 3 seats in the third row as well. Now I know what you're thinking at this point. What if I wanted captain's chairs? Well, guess what? Honda thought of that, and you can actually remove this center seat completely to make captain's chairs. Just throw it in your garage or your basement or whatever if you know you're never going to use it. And then when you did want to use it, if you wanted it, you could put it back in. That's so cool. Honda, you're so practical. I love that. Anyways, again, rear ventilation, USB charging ports, and rear window sunshades for the second row actually come standard on all trim levels across the board, so you gotta appreciate that. Then make your way up to the front seats. Leather seating is gonna come standard for all trim levels, believe it or not. 12-way power driver's seat with 4-way power lumbar coming standard. And you get memory settings for 2 different drivers as well. That comes standard for all trim levels. You gotta love that. 8-way power adjustable passenger seat with lumbar control, that comes standard as well. Heated front seats coming standard as well, so you gotta love all this. Ventilated front seats are gonna come with the Elite trim level though, but overall as far as seat comfort goes, it was plenty fine for me. I especially found my elbow rest super comfortable when I was driving, especially with this center armrest that folded down. I thought that was pretty cool too. But then taking a look at the steering wheel, it is tilt and telescoping. It is gonna be leather wrapped, and then it's gonna be heated for the Elite trim level only. friendly. Do wish there was a little more pronounced 10-2 grips. It's kind of like a Volkswagen Beetle steering wheel, but having said that, it still gets the job done. But let's go ahead and make our way to the startup. Let me start by showing you guys the key here. You got your Honda logo on the one side. When you flip it over, lock, unlock, that button to pop the rear tailgate there. The circular button, that's going to be your remote start, which comes standard on all trim levels, believe it or not. And then those middle two buttons, that's going to be for the side doors. That is power adjustable or power opening as well. But it is all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button located kind of just below the center infotainment screen there to the driver's side. But once started up, in typical Honda fashion, you got your 7-inch digital screen found on the left, and then speedometer is on your right. There's a ton of different information you can adjust within that digital screen, and of course when you change the drive mode, adjust the color a little bit as well. And of course you have your trip A, trip B up there. You got how many miles you have left until you hit empty. You got your outside temperature. There's a digital speedometer up there as well. So pretty much everything you could possibly want to the digital gauges. Wouldn't mind a little more customization, but again, it gets the job done. But let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. Power moonroof is going to come standard on all trim levels across the board. You gotta love that. Overhead sunglass holder also coming standard. By the way, you get a school bus mirror with that as well, so you can spy on the rear passengers when you're driving. Gotta love that. Tri-zone climate control for all trim levels, so both driver, passenger, and rear passengers can all set their individual temperatures. HomeLink controls for all trim levels across the board. That's for up to 3 different garage doors. Found at the bottom portion of that rear view mirror. You gotta appreciate that. Blue ambient lighting for all trim levels but the Sport, because the Sport is going to give you red ambient lighting. And the blue, honestly, I could see it underneath of this infotainment screen. It looks really good. I can only imagine that would look pretty darn good at night. However, I will say I wouldn't have minded multicolor ambient lighting, but this gets the job done. Wireless phone charger is going to come standard for all trim levels across the board. This is located just behind the center cup holders here. Storage under the cup holders as well, by the way. There's a little bit of hidden storage. It's literally right underneath of the cup holders. You wouldn't even know that that was there unless you watch my video, of course. But a little bit of rubberized storage just in front of that. So if you're a girl, you can put your purse there, I suppose. 12-volt power outlet, 115-volt power outlet up here. A couple more USB charging ports. Then just behind the wireless phone charger, you get even more storage. You get an HDMI port in there along with the USB-C, it looks like. So there's plenty of charging ports in here, I'll just say that. But I really do like that hidden storage just underneath the cup holders. I think that was pretty cool. Overall, as far as materials used, a lot of soft touch materials. I wouldn't have minded them beefing up the matte black power window buttons here on the doors. It just looks kind of basic. Matte black door handle as well. But surrounding that, you got gloss black. You got this cool silver finish just above the passenger side glove box, and 2 different leather colors as well, which I think look pretty good. But let's go ahead now and make our way to the infotainment screen. What you guys are looking at is a 9-inch color touchscreen display. Get Bluetooth and audio streaming with that, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which by the way is wireless, so wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you gotta appreciate that. Factory navigation system is gonna come with the Touring and Elite trim levels if you needed that. You got your Honda clocks up there, of course, along with your radio information. So when it comes to the sound systems, you're gonna find 7 speakers and 160 watts for all trim levels but the Elite. That Elite trim level is gonna give you an 11-speaker sound system with 550 watts. So we do have the 7-speaker sound system with us here today, therefore. So let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing this morning, and let's test out the clarity of this one. This is actually really good, and I'm glad they had Sirius XM hooked up to this one as well. But that's actually a really good sound system for it just being 7 speakers. Like, there was plenty of bass there, plenty of clarity as well. I'm not sure you need the other sound system, and you're gonna have kids in the back anyways, more than likely, so you don't want to blow their eardrums out. So 7 speakers is probably exactly what you need for the Odyssey, quite honestly. But last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen is when you do put this thing in reverse, you will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board. Typical Honda fashion, you got 3 different views there in the bottom left-hand corner as well, which as always is going to lead us into safety. And so let me start with the best part. The Odyssey is an IIHS top safety pick plus, which is the highest rating given by IIHS. So gotta love that. Front side curtain airbags do come standard. Driver and front passenger knee airbags as well. In the back you got latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats. Rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard, Honda Sensing. That gives you a collision mitigation braking system, road departure mitigation system, adaptive cruise control, lane keep assist, forward collision warning, lane departure warning, traffic sign recognition, driver attention monitoring system, and a blind spot monitoring system with rear cross traffic alert. And if you were to go with the Touring or Elite, you also get front and rear parking sensors, which is always good so you don't run into stuff in the garage. But overall, when it comes to my final thoughts, plenty of space. If you are looking for space, you get either a really expensive Suburban or you get a much less expensive minivan like the Odyssey. So you gotta appreciate that. Also, great safety. You cannot beat an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, so you got peace of mind there. Also known for pretty incredible reliability. So this engine is known to last quite a long time, and it's been around for quite a long time, and it's naturally aspirated as well. So you don't have any turbo lag or any issues with turbocharged engines, so you gotta appreciate that. There are two things, however, that I would change about the Odyssey. Honda, if you're listening. Like I said earlier, all-wheel drive would be absolutely phenomenal and would do absolutely amazing in this thing. I bet you if you added all-wheel drive, I would say probably 90% of the people getting the Odyssey would go with that all-wheel drive system or more. Maybe 10% would get the front-wheel drive just to save a couple $1,000s, but still, all-wheel drive would be wonderful in this thing. Also, a hybrid option I think would do wonderful as well. Honda does such a great job on their hybrids right now. I think if they added something to the Odyssey to make it compete with the Sienna, which does offer a hybrid powertrain and gives you like 36 miles per gallon in this thing, that would make it competitive with the Sienna and somehow keep the reliability. Honda, I know you know how to do it, but at bare minimum, just give me the all-wheel drive. But anyways, let me know what you guys think of the Odyssey in the comment section below. That's about it for this one, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on social media stuff if you want to see what's coming next on the channel before it gets to YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe and the bell notification button if you're into new car reviews, because that's what I've been doing here for 11 years now. Do appreciate you guys watching more than you know. I will see you guys all in the next video. Stay gold.